Hello, my name is Norman Carias, and these ladies here in front of me is my questionnaires, Lucienne Gemao and Angelyn Calbario. This is a demonstration speech, but the topic is politics, not cooking, not how to dress properly, but we are going to talk about the politics and how the politics work, but explain like that of a speech of demonstration.
Now, before we start, we would like to ask you general questions about your life.
Sure, go ahead.
So, Mr. Carias, can you tell us about what are the best assets in your life, in your body, your work, or whatever?
In my body? Probably the eyes, because my eyes are the best attention seekers.
How about your hobbies?
I like to sing. I love to sing, but I also like to cook.
Oh, you mentioned cooking. What dish are you mostly to cook?
Well, my favorite dish is adobo, but I usually cook adobo fried rice when there is no meat to sample.
So can you tell us what are the ingredients for the adobo fried rice?
Garlic, black pepper, white vinegar, Maggi Supreme, of course water, vegetable oil, and of course your cooked rice. You cannot cook the adobo fried rice without the rice. And lastly, the onions.
Can you give us concrete
Explanations about the ingredients? Okay. 1 head of onion, garlic and 1 tablespoon of black pepper, 1 tablespoon of white vinegar, and 1 sachet of Maggi Supreme, 1 cup of water, and 3 tablespoons of cooking oil, and of course your cooked rice, 1 cup, and lastly the onions. 1 head of onions too. Now can we start about the questions about the politics? I am excited to answer your questions about it.
Miss Angelyn, it's now your turn to ask questions about politics.
So for the first question, Mr. Carias.
Yes.
As if you become a politician, what are your insights and plan when the economic state drops?
Communities can take control of their economic development by putting a formal plan in place. It's setting clear and attainable economic development objectives and designing policies and programs to achieve them. Diba? Your economic future will be reactive at best if you don't have a plan. In the worst case scenario, it's the hands of others. Do you agree? Especially in this period of uncertainty. Firstly, I would open and give people the opportunity they deserve by providing each and every Filipino jobs and opportunities by increasing the GDP, creating jobs and benefits the economy. When someone is employed, they are compensated by the employer. As a result, they have more money to spend on food, clothing, entertainment, and other things. The more money a person spends, the higher the demand. Companies increase their output to meet increased demand for a product or service when demand rises. Companies achieve this by increasing their investment in hiring more employees. More workers enter the cycle, resulting in even more money being spent in the economy, further increasing demand. Secondly, I will improve the sector of tourism. The most important economic feature of activities related to the tourism is that they contribute to the 3 high priority goals of developing countries: the generation of income, employment, and foreign exchange earnings. In this respect, the tourism sector can play an important role as a driving force of economic development. Implementing these plans would be highly beneficial. You know why? But because the most important thing we can do to save economy is to always buy local. At its most basic level, buying locally keeps more money in the community. Money circulating through the local economy benefits everyone involved in the transaction. If this occurs, It will aid in the support of independent family members, farmers who provide jobs and recirculate dollars throughout the local economy, thereby contributing to the national economy's recovery. That would be all for my answer to the first question.
So thank you, Mr. Carlos. So next, in a case scenario, what is your first step to achieving stopping the decreasing economic crisis? Can you illustrate an example?
An example of this is the pandemic, COVID-19. Because of this crisis, the economy of our country has dropped in big numbers or failed anonymously. But until now, it hasn't been resolved yet, and coronavirus is still active until now in our country and in many other countries in the world, diba? There are ways to stop this economic failure. One being to communicate with powerful countries such as the United States, ask for guidance and assistance into eradicating this economy failure.
Many politicians had promised to eradicate corruption and achieve change in the justice system. But those promises that were made still have done nothing until now. As a future politician, what can you demonstrate or what do you plan to do to execute the right and fair procedure? Illustrate your explanation.
Well, corruption is by far the most dirty game or platform in politics. It is innate, but there are certain things we can do to reduce corruption at the highest percentage. Remove politicians that has convicted cases. Cases may be dismissed or cleared, etc. But sometimes politicians use their power or position to exercise their power. Corruption is by far the most dirty game in politics. It is innate, but there are certain things we can do to reduce corruption at the highest percentage possible. Remove politicians that has convicted cases. Cases may it be dismissed or cleared, etc. Sometimes politicians use their position to exercise their power to get away with their wrongdoings. I'm not generalizing, but there are politicians who do that.
Mr. Carlos, for you, what is political dynasty?
Political dynasty, also called a political family, in which several members of the same family are involved in political background. Members who are and may be related by blood or by marriage, and often several generations or multiple siblings may be involved.
Yes, I can see that. Interesting. How are political dynasty formed?
A political dynasty exists when a family whose members are related as a spouse and up to the second degree of consanguinity or affinity, whether such relations are legitimate, illegitimate, half or full blood, maintains or is capable of maintaining political control by succession or by simultaneously running for a position in the government.
So can you give examples of political dynasty here in the Philippines?
Notable Philippine political dynasties include the Aquinos, the Marcoses, the Magsaysays, the Binays, and Dutertes, and Rojas families. There has been a lot of debate, regarding the effects of political dynasties have on the political and economic status of Philippine society.
So now can you tell us what is your stand in the political dynasty? If you agree, what do you think are the benefits you see having a family-to-family members in position? If you disagree, why?
Well, if I had to disagree, I have to agree pala. Political dynasties have the advantage of continuity, diba? The more control the family has over the government unit, the more members of the family can occupy positions of power. And if I had to disagree naman, political dynasties limit political competition, exacerbating corruption, poverty, and abuse of power.
So here are another question. How do you see politics right now?
How do I see politics right now? No change. As in, no change at all. Still, corruption is innate, and I don't think politicians who are in positions will ever change their dirty ways.
And what do you think will happen to politics 10 years from now? Will it change your perspective of how you view it today and in the future?
I'm not quite sure of that question. I'm not quite sure what will happen to politics 10 years from now. But with right leaders, with transparent leaders, and has clean records and has no corruption issues, maybe I will see the world or our country in a better hands.
Ms. Angelyn, it's your turn.
So, Mr. Carlos, can a politician control politics, or the politics will control politicians?
That is a very interesting question, a very hard one, but yes, definitely. Politicians has all the power to control what is going on in the system. Change the law, exhibit another law, but there are politicians that gets controlled by the dirty ways of politics. They get blinded by power and money that they think they can do whatever they desire as long as they hold the position. It is always possible.
So, interesting answer, Mr. Carlos. And if you can, how will you use your power, or will you use the power?
Well, yes, I will use the power, but by doing great things and changing the system of the government, justice, and the financial for the betterment of our country.
Interesting answer, Mr. Carlos.
Oh, wait, I have another question.
Sure, go ahead.
Where do your beliefs come from? Family, church, or work?
My beliefs come from experience. Not from the family, but my own experiences in the world. How the world works, how real politics play, and how people and the power differ from each other.
So for the last question, do you think it's possible to change the belief of the government, and how?
That is another interesting question because, yes, it's definitely possible that they change their beliefs regarding their political journey. They need to change their perspective on how their real politics works and how people compels into heart-dedicated work and effort, not money or power or relatedness.
Okay, so that ends the interview. Thank you so much, Mr. Carlos.
Thank you so much too. I very enjoyed it a lot. Thank you for having me. Hello, this is Norman Calbario again. I would like to thank the sponsors and my team for making this happen, for making this possible. I would like to thank Mr. Pacleb and my questionnaires, Lucienne Gemao and Angelyn Calbario, for making this happen. And our stage manager, stage director, Miss Jubiemay Parada. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy.
Shake your body, baby, do that conga. No, you can't control yourself any longer. Come on, shake your body, baby, do that conga. No, you can't control yourself any longer.